Hey everyone, and welcome to the Glow Up Girl podcast. I'm Kyra Mitchell Lewis, and thank you for joining. Hope everyone is doing well out there. Hope your week is going well so far. Today, I'm excited to bring to you Shontel song Stanford. She is a multimedia content creator, and she helps her clients with creating social media content to help them grow their brands, as well as creating keepsake videos that help families restore and retain lifetime memories of their departed family members. Song wasn't always in this lane of content creation. She's walked a long journey to get to her ultimate purpose, and she'll join me shortly to tell us all about it. So stay tuned. I'll be right back with Song. Welcome back to the Glow Up Girl podcast. I'm Kyra. Thank you all for joining. All right, now I am so delighted to bring Song into the Glow Up Girl podcast. Welcome.
Hi.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad that you could join me today. Let's get started by having you tell the audience about yourself and what you do.
So I'm very happy to be here. My name is Shontel, but you call me Song, which is a whole long story, but we probably don't have time for that at this moment. So I actually do a couple of things. My main business is video and content creation. I do social media management. So I have clientele from that. I assist with all of their graphics and editing for their podcasts and such. I also do my own. I have a YouTube channel, which I have a myriad of series on there. So I have one called For the Love of Men, where I have a panel of men who I talk to about emotional development, emotional intelligence, their relationships, walks, healing from parental abandonment, and just getting a guy's perspective on relationships and things that women have questions about, but they don't ever seem to get the answers they're looking for. And then I have, so that one is one of my favorites because it's interesting getting to a man's mind. I also have one called Finding Me, where I do my genealogy and I talk to different family members as I locate them. So far, I found my grandmother's half sister. Unfortunately, I found her after my grandmother had passed, so they didn't get to connect, but it was very amazing to have that conversation with her. I found other family members from my grandfather's side. So just finding me helps me to really find out where I came from and encourages other people to go back and look into their life story, which leads into one of my other businesses, which is keepsake videos, where I help people to dialogue different memories that they've had in their lives. So I do videos like wedding keepsake videos, proposals, birth announcements. If you need a memorial video, if you have a loved one that passed and you want to remember them, I do videos like that. So whatever kind of video that will help you to hold on to the legacy that you have for your family and be able to pass it down to the next generation. So those beautiful stories that you have don't get lost. That's what I do. And I do interviews for families to share their stories so that they can go back and watch those things as well. So
Awesome.
I think that's everything that I do.
Awesome. I love that. So now let's talk about that journey to your purpose. Now, before you were a content creator, you were coaching. Yes. And so let's sort of talk about that, because how did you find your way to this purpose of helping, because you're creating great content, but you're also helping people to create and build and keep stories that are personal to them.
Right. So it actually, I always knew that I was supposed to help people. And for a long time, I worked in behavioral health. For about 3 to 4 years, I worked in behavioral health. I also looked into majoring in psychology because I've always been fascinated with the brain. And I think sometimes when you've gone through a lot of trauma in your life, then you're drawn to help people as you're on your own healing process. And so that's when, I would always have people come to me and say, can you help me with this? I need your advice in this. And, and so then I looked into the options of, well, maybe I'll do coaching. And I looked at being a single mom coach and helping people with co-parenting, because I get a lot of questions about that, or just how did I become a single parent and succeed in it? I actually wrote a book about it. It's called Growing Pains. And I go from getting out of a domestic violence marriage and going through that transition into becoming a single parent, and how God helped me to really find my way to him and learn how to be successful at single parenting and taking care of my children. So that's one of my, I have 4 books. So that's one of them. And then, but in my journey of coaching, I realized that God had so much more for me, because when I was 16, he was showing me like I was supposed to be a business owner and I was going to have multiple businesses. And yes, I could coach people, but that was not the end all of what he has called me to do. So in the process of me coaching and doing my own social media work, people started coming to me and saying, hey, who does your social media? Because I really need help with this. I know I'm supposed to do this other thing, but I don't know how to package it on social media. And I was like, oh, well, I do my own, I can help you out, but I can't do it for free because I don't have time to do that. And they said, no, we'll pay you for it. And then from one person came another person, and they referred another person. And then it just bloomed into, I need to actually get my LLC and turn this into a business, because this is where I'm getting more people from. As far as coaching, I was getting some people, but it was more so they wanted the help, but they weren't at the stage that they were really ready to put in the effort to invest in what they needed. And I understand that everybody has their moments. So God had me do a pivot. And that's one of the things that my coach always talks about, is knowing when God wants you to pivot in your life and not being scared of that transition, even though it's new.
Ooh, I love that. I love that because it's so true. And I think people need to hear everything that you just said, because I think a lot of times when we think that we're called to do one thing, it's like, we're just like, well, I got to make this work. I got to make this work because I think this is the thing. But if you, like you said, if you are a spiritual person and you are a person of faith, then you do hear from God. You do hear him saying when it's time for you to do something different. And I think it's so interesting for you with the social media and how it all just happened organically and it happened naturally. It doesn't seem like you had to obviously you've worked hard because you have worked and put out great content yourself, and people have seen that and they are like, please sign me up. I want it right now. Whereas a lot of people, are out there and like really out there selling themselves and putting forth the effort for these things that they want to do. And then they're not getting the traction. And it's like, if you just pause and be still sometimes. I say that because I laugh because it's not always easy. And I'm a person who likes to go on, like when I get something, when I'm like, oh no, God told me do this, then I'm ready to run full speed ahead. But sometimes you have to sit in it and you have to listen and to see if it's the thing that you're really supposed to be doing.
And that is so true. And I'll share another brief story. Last year, it was around this time, it happened in July. I was working a job and I just felt like it was time to release that job. I needed to leave that job. And I did a video about this on my YouTube as well. So I put in my 2-week notice. Now I had gotten another job offer for a different job. So I was like, okay, it's going to be a smooth transition. I'm going to leave this job, go to the next one. Put in my notice for that job, and that one ended. And then I got an email a few days later from the other job saying, oh no, we're reneging. We're not going to be able to give you this position. So then I was out of work. So then I was really like, okay, maybe I didn't hear from you, God. Maybe I missed the mark or something like that. And so through that transition, I had to sit and just be still and be patient and listen and wait on God. And through that time, he started telling me different things to do. And one of the craziest things that I thought it was crazy, but God always has a plan. He told me to send my testimony of my story, just a snippet of it, out to different people in my community. So like different churches and like the superintendent of schools and the education system, schools, all that stuff like that. So I sent it out to them, not knowing, I was like, I don't even know, this doesn't make sense to me. From that, I ended up getting a call from one of the businesses, and they said, we were just praying and telling God we needed a speaker for a conference that we're doing, and you're like the perfect fit for that. And I got 2 business contracts from them. Then I got another one from the superintendent of schools of the whole Cochise County, which turned into a huge contract ongoing for the next couple of years, which actually ties into, I spoke for one of her conferences, and then she found out I did social media stuff, and now it's tied into doing all of the social media for the county. So
wow,
listen to what he's telling you to do.
Yes, that's awesome. Congratulations. That is so awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sitting with this, what you just said, because I feel like it's so important for people to just take those moments to sit still, because I was having a conversation for another episode with someone who was talking about, we were talking about human design, and she was talking about the different types, and saying she was a manifester, generating manifester. And so of course, she was my guest, so I did she gave me my design, and I'm a generator as well, which I obviously could see that because I'm a person that likes to take action. But I did say to her, I said, even within this business here, I started Glow Up Girl in 2020, right at the start of the pandemic. And I've tried and done a lot of things that I've thrown at the wall. And, some of them were sliding spaghetti. But this year, I think one of the things that God has really said to me is that, Kyra, you need to listen, you need to stop when you get an idea. Just because you get it, it doesn't mean you have to turn it tomorrow. Because I'm always last year, I remember I did a conference, got an idea to do a conference in, maybe it was end of July. No, it was August. And I wanted to do it in October. And I put a conference together in a month. And I was now a year later, almost, I think about that. I'm but what was the purpose of why did you feel like you needed to do that so quickly? I mean, you could have waited. I mean, people are obviously still doing virtual things online. Why did you feel like you had to do that? But I think it's just those learning moments of being it's okay. It's okay to take time to listen and plan.
Right.
Be strategic as opposed to just going into action all the time.
I definitely agree with that. And I think especially as a person who always has to have something to do, that's I always need to be doing something. And some of my friends, one in particular, she's always saying, can you just be present in this moment? I'll tell her about something. I'm yeah, I just did this and I just did that. She's oh, how do you feel? I was it's cool. Okay, now I got to do this. And she was can we just stay in this moment and celebrate what just happened? And so, but that's something that I'm progressively working on, that be still and know that I am God, just rest in him, rest in these moments. And you don't always have to keep going and doing something, because you're going to hear him best when you just take that time, and you'll hear the whole game plan. Sometimes yes, I want you to do this, but not at this right at this moment. Just start researching how to get it done.
Yes. And I love that you said that, the researching, because there is something that he gave. So I recently, about 2 months ago, I left a job, a corporate job, and transitioned to a new corporate job. Now, I all along thought like I would be, transitioning like from my corporate job to working for myself, right? But that wasn't the plan. That's fine. And I also am a person that, because I do enjoy my day job, I'm a marketer by day, so I enjoy marketing, and I always felt like if I find the right culture and the right company, I'm fine to work and then still
Right.
be, entrepreneurial on the side. So about when I transitioned to that job, it's like he gave me it's not that he gave it to, he actually confirmed what a lot of people had already said, like something I should be doing. Why don't you do such and such and such? I don't know why you don't do that. You're really good at it. And like X, da, da, da. And so then I said, okay. So then I went into my new job and met, probably in the first like 10 meet and greets, met 5 people who confirmed that thing. They didn't know they were doing that, but I was like, oh, wow. Okay, God. So, but at the same time, I took that and I said, okay, so now, Lord, I'm going to spend the rest of the year planning, and I'm going to look to launch this thing next year, Q1 of next year. Whereas the old me would have been all like, I would have already had it done. The old me would have been like, oh, we launching today. And it would have been, it would have launched well, but it wouldn't have. I just feel like what I've learned over the course of the last 2 years is that it's okay. Like you said, it's okay to be present. It's okay to rest. And I don't now, like I used to work literally every Saturday and every Sunday on Glow Up Girl business when I wasn't, outside of work at night. And now I'm taking more moments of like rest and just to like listen. And like you said, I'm a person who feels like I don't like empty space. So, I'm reading books, like one of the 5 of the many books I have. Like I just read different parts of books at different moments, and just being more present, like at home with my puppy, with my husband, as opposed to like always thinking about the next thing I need to do.
Exactly. And that is so important, because one thing that I've learned over time is God has given us the right enough time to the perfect amount of time to get everything that he's done in the purpose that he created for us. Now, there are times where he'll say like suddenly, like do this right now, but most times he's telling you and he's giving you the pieces. So he's like, okay, I heard this pastor use this analogy about, God is saying, okay, I'm going to have you bake a cake, or I'm gonna give you a cake, and you expect it to be the whole cake all at the right moment. But in one season of your life, it may be the eggs, and one season it may be the flour, and one season may be the milk. And so you get all of the ingredients over time where it comes together. And like I said previously, like God told me that I was going to be a business owner when I was 16 years old. I still have like the binder that I put together of all the different business ideas that he gave me. I did not know how that was going to start to come together. And now I am about to be 38 this year, and I'm seeing the manifestation of what he said all over 20 years ago about my life. And so we put ourselves in this box that it has to be done immediately. But when we go back and look at the Bible, when God gave people promises, it could be 25 years, 3 years later, when you start to see the manifestation of a thing, because he never forgets what he said. He just have to make sure that you are prepared. And if you do it too soon, you'll end up with an Isaac or Ishmael. Which one was it? Isaac, Ishmael. I'm drawing a blank right now. So no, Isaac was the promised child. So you end up with an Ishmael, because that was not the promise. God said, I'm going to do this for you, but you have to wait on me. Don't try to do it in your own timing, or you're going to mess up the plan that I have for you.
Yes, because we are good at messing up the plan.
Yes.
But I think there's just there's so many great nuggets in what you just said. From you being 16 and knowing what your ultimate purpose was, is that you were going to own a business, but along the way, like that didn't stop you from, going to college, pursuing, pursuing a job and going into the corporate workforce. You still knew you had to do your work behind the scenes, right? In order for God to align to his promise to you. And like you said, it's a matter of like, I want things that are for me in the timing that I'm ready for. Not because I mean, every time, most times when we want something, we're not ready for what we're asking for. I mean,
Right.
we're not there yet. And I mean, I just think about like all these times where you think you're being, denied. And it's like, no, I mean, like I even look for personally for me on like the work side, the working side is like all last year I probably spent trying to get out of my job, trying to get out. And going on like, interview virtual interviews, it would be one thing or another thing that just didn't work out. And then I went on like what I thought was a perfect job for me. Like someone recruited me online, had a lot of conversations. When you had looked at a role, you would have said like, man, that is Kyra. Like that is Kyra's job. Gone through all the process. And then we get almost to the end, to the finish line. I mean, like maybe an interview away from an offer and everything blows up. Something
Right.
comes with the company that went public, like it was in the news, and people were like blowing my phone up going, is this the place that you were interviewing? I mean, is this the place? And I was like, yes. Oh my god. And I remember I can still vividly see it. It was on a Friday night, and then I saw it on the news, and I was just like, there was a part of me that really wanted to cry. Like I wanted to cry. And I was just sitting there. I was very like numb at that point. And I just remember I came in here and I got this notebook that I always write in. I wrote a letter to God and I said, I don't know why you blocked it. I don't know why you closed that door. I mean, obviously I know now, because of what's happening, but I'm thankful. And I want to be sad because I'm really unhappy with my current situation. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be still. I'm just going to stop, be still. I'm going to ride out the rest of the year and do I never stopped doing my job, but I was like, just going to put all my attention, focus here because maybe you still want me to be here. I don't know. And I took that letter, folded up, and I put it in my vision gratitude box. And then I went to bed. I never cried. I just went to bed because I felt like I just need to go to bed. Like I'm just going to pray, write a letter, go to sleep. And now I think about like what he's given me today and the opportunity that I walked into, which is like, when I say like, wow, who knew like you could have a job that celebrated you being an entrepreneur? Who
Right.
knew, who knew that you could have a job where it is a culture of people who respect and actually really like each other. And they like, it doesn't feel like you're going to work, even though, you're going to work. And, all the other things that I asked for, like, oh yeah, I want to be 100% remote. Like all those things that I prayed and asked for, like he gave me all those things plus so much more. And that has given me opportunity to be able to like help my family more, to help both my parents. And just so it's like, wow, like this is what happens when you just like sit and wait on wait for him to like bring the promise and drop it off. Because I was just like,
I love that.
repeatedly.
I love that. And that is, similarly to what I went through last year. And I'm applying for multiple jobs. It looked like I was going to get it. And then it just didn't work. And I was like, why is this happening, God? And I didn't know during that time was the actual labor of me pushing out my business, because that's when my business ended up launching. It also in that process this year, I was contacted by a previous supervisor who had moved up the ranks in his position. And so now he was in an executive in the company. And he was like, hey, and I hadn't worked for him for like 7 years. And he was like, I have this position. He was like, I really just made the position up because I need you to come back and work for me. And I said, I have my own business now, but I really enjoyed working with him. And I was like, these are my expectations and things that I have to have. I have to be remote. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to have a flexible schedule because I need to be able to still do my business. And he was like, you can have whatever you want. How much money do you want? And it worked out perfectly. Like, I love my job. I love working for a corporate office, but also being able to have the freedom to still do my business and balance my work, family life, and be able to be there for my kids and do things with my family. It's like the best of both worlds now. And I didn't have that before, but I didn't know, because if I would have gotten those other jobs, I would not have what I have now.
Right. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Like it's like we have a parallel like experiences almost. Yeah, it is definitely like, a testament to faith and, just and be waiting, being patient. So anybody out there listening, if you are going through right now what seems like, oh my gosh, I would always say that I felt like the hamster in the wheel. Like I was just going in circles. Like if like just take a breather, like just like whatever your faith is, like just take that breather and take a step back and just like give it time, because good things do come to those who are patient. I would say patient, not necessarily that, because I think when people hear waiting, it feels like, oh, like I'm waiting. It is definitely patient. And I would say that for sure, like I didn't just wake up and was like, oh my God, like it finally happened. No, I had a lot of moments of being like, Lord, I mean, I have done everything you have asked me to do. Like, I don't know what other tests can I pass other than the one I'm gonna drive to this office and put somebody in the face. And it was just it's like you're going to have those moments of frustration, but you have to remind yourself that it is all for a greater good. Like you're going to take those experiences to the next thing, or it becomes an opportunity for you to share. Like, I mean, I am always sharing the testimony. Like I want people to understand, like, this is what happened for me. And these are all things I had to go through to get there. And I think that's like a key piece that a lot of people leave out. I talk about a lot of that, like when I'm here on the show, about I want people guests on who are transparent and who are going to give the actual like tips as to how they did something. Don't just be like, well, I had a great idea and then I was able to quit my job and look at me now, y'all.
That's not how it works.
Never. That's like an anomaly. Yes. So, okay. So that is great. So now you're basically a workingpreneur.
Yes, exactly. So, and I love it. So I know there are a lot of people who say, the workforce is not for them, quit your job and become full-time entrepreneur. But I think that there are benefits to both of them. And so as long as, God willing, he wants me to stay in the workforce, then I'll stay in there as well and then continue to grow my business. So
yeah. I definitely think that makes sense. And, and that I love that you're here and you're sharing your story, because I think a lot of times people need to hear that it is okay to have a job, be in a job that you love, and be growing a business as well. And maybe your ultimate goal doesn't have to always be, I'm trying to transition and work for myself. Because I know, like, I would hear that a lot. People are like, okay, so you're working, but I mean, are you going to take the step? And I was like, well, I've never heard, God has never told me to like leave my job and work for myself. Like, he didn't tell me that. So I'm not going to try to make that be what I want it to be, because that's what people think entrepreneurs are supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. And it's not always the case. And if you listen to some of the most successful people, they tell you build your business while you're working for someone else. Like, do your 9 to 5. And then when you get off of your 9 to 5, work on building your business so that when it's actually to the place of success where it's taken over the amount that you're actually making from your 9 to 5, then that's a good time to leave. But you don't want to prematurely leave your job, the stability that you have, out chasing a dream. And then, what happens if you hit a glitch and then you can't provide for yourself financially because you left your job too soon. So I always, tell people, like, listen to what the voice on the inside tells you to listen to the Lord, and he will lead you and guide you on what you're supposed to do. Some people, yes, they have left their job and they've been successful, but that's not the case for most people.
Yeah.
So take your time. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to be a millionaire overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. And guess what? Maybe you're not called to be a millionaire. You're just called to do really well, be wealthy, and, and help other people. So it's like, I think it's just also like understanding the goal. Like it's less about like, I'm looking for the success as to, I just want to find joy, right? And what's going to bring joy to your everyday life versus feeling like, this is what success to me looks like, being enjoy, like having joy in my life.
Right. That's a good one. So define what success is to you, because a lot of society will tell you success means have money, but money does not make happiness. So what is success for me? I wanted to be able to be there for my kids more. And I didn't want to have a job that was constantly telling me I have to be here at a certain time while I'm missing things that my kids really want me to be at school for, to see them in plays and, whatever they were doing at school. And that's a part that really hit hard for me, because one day my son he was much younger at the time, but he was like, well, I have this thing at school, but I know you have to work. And that hurts as a parent when your kid says, I know, I basically saying work is more important than me because you have to go to work. So it's okay, you can't show up for me. I don't ever want my kids to feel like I can't show up for them. And so I will never tie myself to a position that says they come before my kids or my family. Because you die, the job will replace you. Your family can't replace you. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So what advice can you give out there to the audience regarding, anyone who's trying to find their own purpose today?
I definitely believe that, one, all of us have a purpose that we were created to fulfill and walk through in this life. And so I'm big on creating a vision board and writing down a vision. The Word of God says that write the vision. And so when you write the vision, those who see it can run with it. If you don't have something in front of you, and I keep looking over here because I'm looking over at my vision board, if you don't have something in front of you to remind you this is what the goal is, it's easy for you to get distracted every day and just go off the path. Like a lot of times we say, oh, this is what I want my life to be and stuff, but we're chasing the Joneses, but we're not actually seeing, okay, God, what is it that you want me to do with my life? How can my life fulfill the purpose and the plan and the destiny that you have, that you created me for? So take the time to sit down and ask him, what is the game plan that you have for me? And then once you actually listened and written it down, then say, okay, what is the next thing that I need to do? And sometimes you may not hear it right at that moment. It may take a little while, but just keep asking and keep waiting and being an effective listener. What's the next thing that you need me to do? Like when he told me, okay, send this email out to people, that didn't make any sense to me, but I did it, and it opened the door for multiple business contracts for me when I hadn't even started my business at that time. So it's just listening and then being quick to do what he's told you to do. If he says do this right now, then do it right now. And you don't know but it's everything is a step that's leading you to exactly walking in your purpose. And don't be afraid to make that change. You may feel like, well, this is what I really want to do. Like I really wanted to be a psychologist. I really wanted to, coach people. But God said, I really need you to go in this direction right now. He didn't say I won't ever go back and be a coach. And he didn't say that I have to completely stop doing it right now. But he said, this is where I need you the most at in this season, because it's opening the doors for the other areas. So don't be afraid to make that pivot in your life, because you're probably hitting a brick wall and you're wondering why you're frustrated all the time, because God already told you 2 exits to go to get off on this exit, and you just kept going. Now you're at a dead end.
Awesome. I love that answer. And I think that is such excellent advice. And I love the analogy about he told you to get off 2 exits ago, and you're still trying to ride down to wherever it is you think you're supposed to go. Oh my gosh. Well, why don't you tell the audience out there how they can work with you?
All right. So if you would like to get in contact with me, if you can reach me on any social media platform. If you're on Instagram, it's Inspiring Beauty Keepsakes, all one word. And then if you go on there, my link on there gives you all of my business details. So you can get to my YouTube channel, which is Inspiring Beauty and Believers, my Facebook, Inspiring Beauty and Believers as well. And then also my business information. If you would like to set up a consultation about your social media, there's a link on there where you can do that. I do 30-minute consultations about your business or what it is your goal and your vision is. Also, if you would like to set up a consultation about getting keepsake videos, all of those prices and how to set those things up are on there as well. But I am here for whatever your needs are. And if you just want to talk, send me a DM. I would love to talk to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, we are going to move into our 3 things with song segment. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions, just going to help our audience get to know you a little bit better. 1, how do you start and end your days?
So when I wake up in the morning, depending on what time I wake up, I might just but I wake up and I have my tea, I talk to God, and then I go and get my daughter ready. So I have to have my moment by myself and talking to God before I get everything set up with my kids, because if you have kids, as soon as they wake up, your day pretty much belongs to them until they go back to sleep. So having that alone time for myself so I can get my mind together is extremely important. And then having my tea or coffee, I need that so that it helps me to clear my mind. And then when I go to sleep, I like to listen to audiobooks while I'm sleeping. So either I'll play the Bible, I'll play affirmations, or I'll play a book if I'm listening to a specific book. And so while I'll play it as I'm falling asleep, and then because I wake up in the middle of the night a lot, I'll still hear it when I wake up throughout the night. But it also helps to get into your subconscious.
Awesome. Love that. Okay. Question number 2. So if you are someone who sets goals or intentions, what's one thing you've set for yourself this year?
So my one goal, well, I have a few of them, but one of my goals for this year is that I want to have a minimum of 20 new clients. And for me, that is a huge thing because content creation takes a lot of work. So with having at least 20 clients, that means the income that I have coming in will allow me to also hire staff to help me with the content creation.
Very smart lady. What's one of your favorite things to do when you're not working?
I am a creative, so I love doing creative things like painting. I love going to sip and paint. I like to do painting activities with my kids. I'm really big on families. I like family time, game time. Actually, I'm going to we have our family reunion coming up, and so we have like a bunch of stuff planned. We're going to amusement parks, the water parks, and all the stuff for like the whole 3 days. So just spending time with family and making memories. And also in that, I seem to be working too, because I'm making all these videos so that I can then make videos for them.
Hey, it works, right? I mean, you get to do 2 things that you love. So that's all good. All right, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for playing along. Before I let you go, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for joining and sharing your very personal and transparent story. I love when people share the real. And I want to, definitely wish you success. And as you continue your journey, because you are far from done. You are so talented and creative, and it's just been awesome to meet you and to connect to you.
Thank you so much. I've had an amazing time, and same to you. Success with this. I know Glow Up Girl is going to glow up, and I can't wait to see you on even a bigger platform.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Before I let you leave me, if you had to leave our audience with 1 to 3 things as a takeaway from our discussion today, what would those things be?
So I don't know if any of you guys remember this song by India Irie, but it's been going through my head all day. Strength, courage, and wisdom. And so those are the 3 things that I would say that I would leave with you. So strength, knowing that everything that you've gone through, this is a word that was given to me when I was younger. I was told that the things that I went through, God knew that I would be able to endure so that I could be stronger, so that I could help someone else to come through what they went through. So know that what you've gone through, if you made it through it, you were strong enough to handle it. Now make sure that you get the healing that you need so that you can be able to help somebody else. Courage, don't be afraid to have the courage to go out and do what it is that you're called to do. Like if God has told you to do something, trust that he's not going to let you fail. So have the courage to walk on the water and know that he's there with you. And then wisdom. Don't always think that you already know everything. Allow yourself to, one, seek the guidance and wisdom from God, and also have a myriad of close people in your circle that are wise and that they can also pour into you as well, so that you have someone that you're not just going out here making decisions on your own and ending up making bad decisions. Have that circle of friends that have wisdom.
Awesome. Oh, such great advice. Well, thank you so much again. As I said, you always have a place you can come back here if you want to share with my audience again in the future.
Of course, I would love to come back.
Awesome. Well, stay tuned, everyone. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Glow Up Girl podcast. I'm Kyra. Thanks again to Song for joining the show today and for sharing her personal journey to finding her purpose. You can learn more about Song and contact her by visiting inspiringbeautyinbelievers.com. If you'd like to learn more about Glow Up Girl, you can visit us at glowupgirl.com. You can check out past podcast episodes. You can sign up to be a guest on the podcast. You can also find information about advertising your business on this podcast. Grab our social links, check out free webinar trainings, free content and resources, and so much more. Thank you all for joining me today. As always, it's been a blast, and I can't wait to come back next week and do it all again with you. So until then, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.